How to use the Programmable Stitch Creator. The Programmable Stitch Creator has two modes. Fill or Stamp mode allows you to create stitch patterns using programmable fill or stamp functions. Motif mode lets you create stitch patterns using motif stitch for region sewing and line sewing. Launch the Programmable Stitch Creator of the PE Design next. Let's start by making a stitch pattern using Fill or Stamp mode. Select New Fill or Stamp Pattern from the System menu to enter Fill or Stamp mode. Select the Draw Line tool from the Home tab to input a fill or stamp pattern you want to create. Double-click when you reach the last point to finish entering. If you need to, you can use the Select Point tool to edit the points you entered and adjust the shape. If you switch the interval on the View tab, you can adjust the interval of the grid that the points are plotted on. In addition, you can check Preview window to confirm the positioning of the patterns. Once we have finished entering and editing data, we'll select Save from the System menu and save it as XLeaf to the Pattern folder. When the save is completed, we'll launch the Layout and Editing to input the shape you want to create. On the Attributes tab, we'll select Programmable Fill as the sew type for the region. This will display a list of patterns in the Programmable Fill area of the Sewing Attributes dialog box. If we find the leaf pattern we just created and select it, we can apply it as the fill pattern for the shape region. Setting the proper direction value allows us to make the stitch pattern effectively. We can also use the same pattern as a stamp pattern for the region. To do this, select Fill Stitch for the region sew type. On the Edit tab, select the Input Stamp tool. The system will display the Stamp Attribute Settings dialog box. Select the leaf pattern we created earlier and click the region wherever you like. A leaf stamp pattern will be applied to the fill stitch. Close the dialog box and select the Edit Stamp tool. Click the stamp you added to reposition, resize, or rotate it. Now, let's make a stitch pattern using Motif mode. Select New Motif Pattern from the System menu to enter Motif mode. Motif patterns are sewn as continuous patterns, so you have to make sure that the entry point and exit point are at the same height. We can insert points to create pattern shapes between the entry point and exit point. Once we have finished entering and editing data, we'll select Save from the System menu and save it as X Swirl to the Pattern folder. When the save is completed, we'll launch the Layout and Editing to input the shape you want to create. On the Attributes tab, we'll select Motif Stitch as the sew type for the region. This will display a list of patterns in the Motif Pattern area of the Sewing Attributes dialog box. Here, we can find the swirl pattern we just created. Select the pattern to apply it as the motif pattern for the shape region. Setting the proper direction value allows us to make the motif pattern effectively. Also, if we select Motif Stitch as the sew type for the line, and then select the swirl pattern from the list of motif patterns in the Sewing Attributes dialog box, we can apply the pattern to the outline of the shape.